Most people are stuck in a system designed to work harder and not smarter. We're here to expose the strategies, the loopholes, and the life hacks the 1% use. This is universal basic knowledge.
What if I told you there's a way to legally grow your investments completely tax-free, the same way billionaires like Peter Thiel have done? Most people think retirement accounts are just for the slow, safe investing, but there's a loophole that could change everything. Enter the Backdoor Roth IRA, a completely legal way around the limit. And if you play it right, you can grow your money tax-free forever. Okay, if you don't know what an IRA is, it is an investment retirement account. And essentially, that may not sound very interesting right now, depending on your age. But let me tell you how Peter Thiel used this sneaky little hack to build a $5 billion portfolio, all tax-free. Okay, so most people can only invest, think about the IRA, where they can only invest up to $8,000 a year. And that's not a tremendous amount of money, right? So it's $8,000 a year, depending on your age. Right? And what most people do in their IRA is that they'll invest the same way that they'll invest their regular portfolio. So they're going to buy companies like Google, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway, so these main companies that every single day and are great companies. Don't get me wrong. These are great companies, but these companies are all worth trillions of dollars, right? So their market cap is anywhere from $1 to $3 trillion, let's say, right? And so if they grow 10% in a given year, or 20% even, which would be excellent for an individual stock, your $8,000 at the end of that year will become $8,800, right? In the case of a 10% growth rate. So that means that the $800 that you earned is tax-free. That's great. And over time, that will compound, and that's very, very powerful. You have the same $8,000, right? Up to $8,000, depending on your age. Now, what Peter Thiel did that was very intelligent is that the IRA does not stipulate what type of stock you can buy. So if you know PayPal, right? Probably one of the largest payment processing companies today, Peter Thiel was a co-founder of this company. And so early on, during PayPal's early existence, he basically used the IRA. So to apply the same strategy, let's first break down what Peter Thiel did in the late 90s, right? At the time, the IRA limit was only $2,000. Actually, it was $1,700, okay? And so today's limit is $8,000 because this generally goes up over time as the government changes these limits. But what Peter Thiel did is he was one of the co-founders of PayPal, right? And so while I don't have his exact value of the shares, the price per share that he paid, let's assume that the price that he was paying at the time, PayPal was very, very small. So maybe it was, 0.1 cent a share that he was saying. So he basically put $1,700 at 1 cent a share, right? And over time, this value from $1,700 ballooned as PayPal grew and became a tech company and acquired other companies. And by the end of 2023 and 2024, this was worth over $5 billion, right? He basically took a $1,700 investment and made one of the greatest returns of all time. And one of the biggest and most unique things about the IRA, as we learned in the last example, is the gains that you make are tax-free, right? Because that is one of the incentives by the government. So one would say that if you can invest $8,000 every year and you're looking to diversify your portfolio, would it be better to be more speculative with your IRA investment, right? And so that's up to you, but you can see the difference here. If you're investing in traditional companies, you're maybe going to get a 10% yearly return, which would be pretty great, by all standards of the market. It beats the S&P 500, it beats the NASDAQ, etc. But one of the opportunities is that if you invest in things like tech companies, it could be Bitcoin, it could be crypto, it could be early stage companies, then you can essentially use the same Roth IRA strategy that Peter Thiel did in PayPal 20 some years ago. And if one of them do very, very well, all of those gains are tax-free. Okay, guys. So what we've gone over here today is that if you have a high conviction investment, so something you believe in, could be earlier stage, could be more of a moonshot, a great way to invest in that is through a Roth IRA, as we've seen here with PayPal. This isn't an investment for everyone. You should talk to your financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just simply pointing out a really unique way to use a tool that several billionaires have used to maximize gains. And in the case of Peter Thiel and his PayPal investment, it obviously worked out very, very well. You can invest in any early stage tech company, crypto companies, etc. One of them also being Mode Mobile, which you can check out in the link here. Shameless plug for us, but you can check it out and invest at or under 30 cents a share for the time being. If this sounds interesting to you, join our free community. You don't need to be rich to live like the 1%. You just need to learn what they do. With the right strategies, you can 10x your lifestyle without spending any more than you do today. The difference is not income, it's information. This is universal basic knowledge.